Hello, Elly here from Thankful Flow Yoga. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. Today we are doing a core strengthening Vinyasa flow. So we are going to be activating and strengthening into this core area, and just remembering that the core is not just kind of the tummy muscles or the abdomen, it's these muscles all around this center line of the body that's supporting our spine and supporting us in our practice and outside of our practice. So we're going to start in a comfortable lying position on the mat to start the class. And you can just let the body relax here, let the head and the shoulders rest heavy on the mat. You can close the eyes for a couple of moments and start to breathe in through the nose and notice where your breath's traveling to within your body. Maybe you can feel the chest rise and fall with the breath. Maybe you're checking in and observing how you're feeling today as you come into stillness on your mat, making space for whatever is there. There's no judgment, no right or wrong. From here, start to draw your knees in towards the chest and then lengthening the legs. So bring the legs to roughly a 90-degree angle, but you can keep a little bend through the legs here. So roughly kind of 90 degrees. And then take the hands and bring the hands into Kali Mudra. So fingers are interlaced and we've got the index fingers staying long and touching. So we're going to inhale and reach the arms up and over the head and drop this right leg down to hover just off the mat. Exhale, come back to center with the arms and the leg. Other side, inhale, float that left leg down, reach back. Exhale, back to center. So getting straight into it today. Right leg goes again. Inhale, hovering it off the mat, reaching the arms back. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, left side, reaching that left leg down. Floating back to center, and we'll take one more on each side. So really try and notice here as well, if your lower back's starting to come away from the mat at all as you do this, really draw the belly in and try and keep the lower back connected as closely to the mat as you can. Last one. Coming back to center and take a big hug with those legs, drawing them in towards the chest. Maybe taking a gentle rock from side to side, just massaging into the lower back here. And then we want to release the arms, so you bring the arms out into a T shape and the legs are still bent and tucked in, and again we're really using and switching on our core here. So we have our energy center in the abdomen area, Manipura, our third chakra. And this is all about connecting to our sense of inner power, our fire element. So start to drop both knees over to the right, but really slowly with control, using your strength in the core. And then I want you to slowly bring the knees back through center. Keep breathing and float them over to the other side. So keep floating from one side to the other, going with your breath at your pace, but really nice controlled movements. And notice how the spine feels as you take these movements as well. So we'll be taking some twists in this practice today. Again, as another way of connecting and activating to this solar plexus area and this core area and the energy that's in this area of the body. Last one, coming back to center. Well done. And finding our happy baby now. So hands can come to the thighs, the calves, or the feet, or you could bring the peace fingers around the big toes. Opening into the hips and the groin. Taking any gentle movement that feels good in your happy baby. Maybe there's a gentle rock or sway within the body. Finding your breath again here. Sending your awareness inwards. Well done. Now releasing from your happy baby. You can bring the hands behind the thighs here, and we're going to start to try and build up a little bit of momentum and rock ourselves and see if you can meet in a Navasana Boat Pose. No worries if that didn't happen for you, just all meeting here. And really keeping that space across the chest in your Navasana. And then we're going to reach this right arm out to the right side. Draw it back in. Inhale, left arm out to the left side. Draw it back in. Inhale, now reach both arms out to the side. If you've got a space, I've got a little radiator here. And back in. Well done. Now with control, so again, we're not just using the core here, we're really using our hip flexors as well. So with control from your Navasana Boat Pose, we're going to come down and see if we can come straight into a Gomukhasana. Now, we're going to bring this left leg down, so bending it as if you're doing cross-legged, and hooking that right leg over, feet coming out to the side, so working towards stacking these knees on top of each other for Gomukhasana. And again, if you need to support yourself doing this, of course, please do. Inhale, reach the crown of your head to the ceiling, and exhale, fold forwards. Folding over the legs, feeling that deep stretch into the hip space. And observing any thoughts passing through the thinking mind. Remembering that you are not your thoughts, you are the one observing them. Dwelling in that part of you that lies behind the thinking mind. Inhale, lift the chest away. Just coming away from your fold. And now again, so having some fun in this practice today. Try and have a playful element to this. If you're falling and wobbling around all over the place, that's okay. That's part of this practice. Just meeting back in the pose when you're ready. So we're going to see if we can sit our hips back, lift the legs away, unravel back to Navasana Boat Pose. Then coming back to our arm movement. So we're inhale, reaching the right fingertips out to the side. Exhale, drawing them back in. Inhale, left arm comes out to the side. Exhale, drawing it back in. Inhale, open both arms out to the side. Exhale, bring them back in. Now finding our Gomukhasana on the other side. So this time right leg comes down first, left leg hooks over. Take a little wiggle to get yourself into position. Inhale, reach the crown of the head to the ceiling. Exhale, we fold forwards. Doesn't matter if it's a tiny, tiny hinge fold forwards, that's okay. Stretching into the hip space. Finding your breath. Inhale, starting to come away from the fold. So we're going to unravel the legs and bring the feet out slightly further than hip width apart. Hands are at heart center. You're going to see if you can make your way into your Malasana. So your yogic squat. Now again, taking any blocks, props, any support you need here. Pressing the palms of the hands together, lifting through the crown of the head. And then inhale, pressing the feet into the ground, powering up through the legs, coming up to standing. Step the feet into roughly hip width apart. And we'll interlace the hands behind the back, open across the chest, opening that heart space. But try not to let your ribs really flare out here. Try and draw the ribs in as you do this. Then releasing the hands from the interlace. We're going to bring the hands out in front and interlace the fingers. Palms are facing in. Press the hands out in front. Exhale, drop the chin down towards the chest. Draw your belly button in towards the spine. Rounding the spine here. Maybe you can feel a stretch into the back of the neck or all the way down the back. Just observing what is alive for you. And release, standing at the top of the mat, Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, sweep the arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, hinge from the hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, float the hands down to the mat, step or jump the feet back to plank. And we'll flow through our chaturanga. So on the inhale, either coming into your upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, we come back to our downward facing dog. Take a pedal out through the feet here. Bending one leg at a time. Keep pressing the mat away with your hands, pressing into the fingers. Lifting the hips away from the ribs. We're naturally strengthening our core in downward facing dog. Our core naturally really draws in here. So without even realizing it, in a lot of yoga practice, we're really using and strengthening the core, even in poses or positions that we may not realize that we're doing it. So inhale, send the gaze between the hands, step or jump the feet in. Lift the chest, lengthen the spine, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the hands up to the sky, grow the spine tall. Exhale, hands through to heart center. Surya Namaskar B. Inhale, Utkatasana, sit the hips down, belly's coming away from the thighs, squeezing the legs in together. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine, halfway lift. Exhale, float the hands down to the mat, step or jump the feet back. And work through your chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling back to your downward facing dog. Pausing here, reconnecting with your breath. Always coming back to that connection to breath and knowing that this is a breath-led practice. This is breath-led movement. So if you're moving and you feel like you can't breathe as well as you could be, or you're feeling like your movement is
not in sync with your breath, then seeing if you can listen to that and either changing the pace slightly or making space to honour how your body feels today or what your breath is communicating to you. Inhale, we're going to sweep this right leg up to the sky. Find a three-leg dog, opening into the hip. Option to bend that right leg. Inhale, start to draw that right knee in, bringing your right knee to your nose. And as you do this, really press the hands into the mat. Lift up and out through the shoulders. And then stepping your right foot to the outside of the left hand, finding your fallen triangle. Reaching that left arm up, either to the sky or towards that left ear. Breathing here. Drawing the left hand back down to the mat, bending that right leg. This time we step it through between the hands, reach the fingertips up to the sky, find your high lunge. Lifting up and out from the waist. Hands to heart center. Step your back foot in, toes pointing out at a slight angle. Inhale, reach the crown of the head to the ceiling. Exhale, we're going to float forwards and the left hand's going to come to the outside of the right foot, finding our Revolved Trikonasana. Now, for this pose, a lot of us, it's going to help to have that left hand on a block to the outside of the right foot, seeing which setting works best for you. So give yourself that support if you need it. Breathing here. So really twisting into this core area. Now from here, bringing the weight into the right leg, start to find your revolved half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Again, this left hand can be on a block here to give you more space. So right fingertips are reaching up to the sky. Gaze is coming in that direction. And then, challenging transition, see if you can take that left hand away, square off the hips, and find your warrior three. Floating the hands back down to the mat, step the legs back, and work through your vinyasa. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhaling back to your downward facing dog. Taking a moment here, remember child's pose is always there if you need it. Noticing if you can feel any warmth or energy within this core area. Noticing any sensations within the body, any energy that you can feel. There's no right or wrong with this. Being the observer. Now coming on to the other side, we're inhale, sweep the left leg up to the sky, find your three-leg dog, open into the hips, bend that top leg, if that's accessible, no worries if it's not. With control, float this left knee through, bringing the knee to nose. Lift up and out through the shoulders. And then left foot comes to the outside of that right hand. Then the right hand comes away from the mat, opening up into fallen triangle. This is one of my favorite postures. Just the stretch and opening you can feel in the body is so good. Well done. Float that right hand back down to the mat. Bend the left leg in. Step it through. Find your high lunge. Reach the fingertips up to the sky. Lifting up and out from the pelvis. Step that right foot in, right toes at a slight angle. Inhale, create space first. So lift the ribs away from the hips. Exhale, come into our Revolved Trikonasana. So right hand's coming to the outside of the left foot. Left fingertips are reaching up to the ceiling. You're following with your gaze. The right hand could be coming to a block here to give you some more space. Well done. And then bringing the weight into that left leg, finding your revolved half moon. So it's a similar position with the body to our Revolved Trikonasana, but we're bringing that right leg away from the mat. And again, this right hand can stay on a block here. No worries if you're wobbling, you're falling. That's okay. And then seeing if you can square off the hips and find our Warrior 3 left side. Pressing through the right heel. Staying with your breath. And floating the hands down to the mat. Step the feet back. Well done. And work through your chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. Inhale. With a rounded spine, see if you can roll the body back to a plank position until your shoulders are above the wrists. And from here, we're going to bring the right knee in to tap the right elbow. Bring it over to tap the left elbow. Bring it back down to tap the right wrist. Bring the right knee to tap the left wrist. And bring it back, other side. Left knee taps the left elbow. Bring it over to tap the right elbow. Bring it back to tap the left wrist, but keeping it hovered. Over to tap the right wrist. Back to plank. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Well done. Just a little bit more fire for you there. Lifting those hips to the sky. On your next inhale, gaze between the hands, step or walk the feet in, lift the chest, lengthen the spine, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, sit the hips back, Utkatasana, chair pose. Finishing off our Surya Namaskar B. And exhale, bring the hands through to heart center. Well done. That was a fiery sequence. So we're going to come up onto our toes now. Coming onto the balls of the feet and reaching the fingertips out in front. And then slowly as you can, start to bend through the legs. So lowering down to the mat with control. Seeing how slow you can go. And then when you're hovering down low on the toes, just seeing if you can find a little bit of balance here. Again, just have some fun with it. Bring your hands into heart center and Jali Mudra. Inhale here, twist to the right. See if you can tap the fingertips down to the mat. Inhale, come back to center. And exhale, twist to the left. Can you tap those fingertips down to the other side? And come back. Well done. And release the hips down to the mat. And we're going to grab our blocks here. So if you don't have blocks, you can use books instead. Or you can just use your hands on the mat. It's going to actually be more difficult using the hands on the mat without having the blocks there for what we're about to do. So see if you can find something, but no worries if not. And you're going to bring the blocks roughly to the sides of your hips. And we're going to bring our hands on there in a moment. So coming into a little sequence. So first of all, find your Navasana Boat Pose. Nice. So coming back to what we did at the beginning of the practice. So we're going to inhale and reach that right arm out to the side. Draw it back in. Inhale, reach the left arm out to the side. Draw it back in. Reach both arms out to the side. I have a wall in the way, but bring them right out. Draw them back in. You're going to place your hands to your blocks and just see if you can hook the legs at the front and play with lifting your hips off the mat here. No worries if your hips are just literally hovering away for 1 second, that's okay. Bring the hips back down, come back to your Navasana. We go again. Inhale, right hand comes out to the side. Exhale, draw it back in. Inhale, left hand comes out to the side. Exhale, draw it back in. Inhale, open both arms out to the side. Draw it back in. You know what's coming. Hook the opposite foot at the top this time if you can. Lift those hips away. Keep breathing. And release your hips back down. Release the legs. Well done. Take a big hug. Drawing those knees in towards the chest, dropping the head down. You can close the eyes here if that feels good too. Inhale, opening the eyes back up, lifting the head away, coming away from your hug. You can remove your blocks. And we're going to come back to a seated position, just finishing off with a final twist. So left hand's going to come to the right knee, right hand's coming out behind. Inhale, make space. Exhale, twist to the right. Gaze is coming over the right shoulder. And floating back to center and then over to the other side. Right hand to left knee, left hand comes behind. Inhale, growing the spine tall. Exhale, twisting. And coming back to center. Thank you so much for joining me for this fiery, core igniting, strengthening flow. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Do comment and feedback to me on how you're getting on, and please do subscribe to this channel if you've enjoyed these practices. I have a lot more to come towards the end of the year and the start of next year, so do keep a look out for much more flows, and link below to other things that I offer, like online membership, online retreats. So yeah, do check that out, and I can't wait to flow with you again very soon. Thank you. Bye bye.